That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. As promised, we are out of the DC stuff for a little bit, taking a journey away, and we'll be talking about Venom vs. Carnage today. Though I have a brief announcement first. You may of course notice that this episode was not uploaded on Friday, as has been the normal day. It was uploaded on Monday, as will be the normal day. I went over this during the live show, but I'll just quickly recap. Switching some things around on the channel to try to streamline things, make things a little bit easier on myself, make some of the other content, give it a little more exposure. So the new schedule will go from Sunday to Saturday. Sundays, regular episode of Geeky Gentleman discussion / review / what have you. Mondays will be the day for Trade Talk Now. Tuesdays will be Geeky Gentleman character discussions. Wednesdays will still be new comic book reviews. Thursdays, Geeky Gentleman fan film reviews. Fridays, there will be a clip uploaded from Geeky Gentleman. It'll just be a clip of each episode from the week. So if you missed an episode, or if you were maybe kind of on the fence of whether you'd be interested in the episode, I recommend watching the clip because it'll give you a preview of every episode that was uploaded that week. So that'll be cool. And then Saturdays are still in flux as to whether or not anything gets posted there. Saturdays are what I tend to use for my monthly shows like Comic Book Club and monthly comic roundup. So anyway, so that's that. Now back to the book itself. So Venom Carnage. This is written by Peter Milligan, right? Yeah, Peter Milligan with art by Clayton Crain. So I really like Venom. I really like Venom. Venom's just like, ever since I was a kid, cool ass character. Venom, I first comic book I ever bought was a Venom comic. I remember walking in the store and saying, I want a comic book with Venom in it. And they gave me a random comic book with Venom in it. I don't know if I even still have that. I'd have to go look for it. But anyway, yeah, so love Venom. Always had a love affair with Venom. He's like buff, scary Spider-Man. Carnage, also really cool. The symbiotes are my crack when it comes to Spider-Man. What can I tell you? Is this a good book? Do I care if it's good? Not particularly, because of, Clayton Craig kind of fucking murders this book in the best possible way. That's a pretty good one. I want to see it on the proper page if I can. There we go. Yeah. I don't give a shit about the story anymore. That's why I'm reading this book now. That is the only reason I am reading this book from this point on. Is this shit right there. Fucking murders this book on the art. Clayton Craig does a beautiful job rendering Venom and Carnage and making them look distinct and cool and creepy as fuck. Oh my god, he kills it. The story here is actually not that complicated. So for those that don't know the history, well, I mean, it's comic books, so it's always complicated. For those that don't know the history of Venom and Carnage, the Venom symbiote is an alien life form that bonded with Spider-Man until Spider-Man, of course, rejected it, and then it bonded with Eddie Brock and turned into Venom. During one of his escapes from prison, Eddie Brock was roomed up with Cletus Cassidy, a infamous serial killer. And during his escape, the Venom symbiote reproduced and left its heir behind, and the heir attached itself to Cletus Cassidy. And that's how you got Carnage, the serial killer symbiote. The symbiotes do not give a shit about their offspring whatsoever. Until now. In this story, Venom is telling Carnage that he is soon to to reproduce. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It's just part of their biology. And because his will be an important offspring on a generational turn, they actually do have to do something to care for it to a degree. And Venom has already named the offspring. It shall be called Toxin. But of course, Carnage, being a murderous serial killer, doesn't want anything to do with its offspring, and so if he can't stop it from happening, he will kill it the first chance he gets. And the offspring gets attached to a police officer who's got a family of his own, you know, baby and all that jazz. So Carnage is Venom wants to protect the police officer, and in turn the baby Toxin, and Carnage wants to kill him. And Spider-Man's, of course, caught up in the middle of all this, and yada yada yada. Just god damn, that's too much good in 2 pages. God, that's so good, so good, so much so good. So I just want to stop talking about this shit. Black Cat gets involved and is kind of on the cop's side, and the cop's slowly morphing into Toxin, and he can't quite control what's happening to him. He eventually has to morph into Toxin to try to protect himself from Carnage at one point. And then the rest of the book's kind of him learning to deal with that and the implications of being a super powered individual now. I will say, since I want to start talking about the art, I actually don't like some of the choices made for Toxin. I get that it's the offspring of Carnage, so it should probably in some way resemble him. But to be fair, how much does Carnage really resemble Venom? I feel like you've got a lot of room to play around with that. And I really, really think that Toxin should have been literally any other color but red or black. And instead he's red and black. Like, it's not like he's got the same, I don't know, what would you call that? Interchangeable, is Carnage more red or black? I don't fucking know. It's both. There's a much clearer divide between the red and black parts of Toxin, but I don't know. I think they should have gone with a different color scheme, because especially given that the symbiotes are shape changing to a degree, some of these pages, it starts to get a little hard to follow some of the actions. So I don't know, like green, blue, whatever color, orange even, whatever color. And it's a different enough shade of red. I don't have too hard a time telling what's going on in this. I'm just, I was not thrilled with that choice. Anyway, the police officer that is now Toxin starts to learn how to get a little bit of control over it, and he thinks he can still have his normal life and deal with the superpower, and he tries to use his superpowers now to stop a bank robbery that it's too dangerous for the police officers to go into. And in the middle of intimidating these thugs, these bank robbers, "You are heartless killers. You killed a cop who no doubt had a family who will be heartbroken. You deserve to die in the most painful and heartless way imaginable. Your brains may be soft and eggy, no doubt, evolved over thousands of years so you can waste them. I'll suck them through your eye sockets." So anyway, that's the level of violence that the symbiote's inspiring in the guy. So he realizes that he's not safe with this thing inside of him. His family isn't safe around him. Eventually, Spider-Man teams up with them, and they're able to defeat Carnage and Venom so that they won't come after him anymore. But the officer realizes that his family just straight up isn't safe with him around, So he decides to leave his wife and newborn. Just straight walk out on them and go be Toxin somewhere else. And yeah, I actually quite like that ending, and it's not a bad story overall. It's a pretty cool premise to play around with the whole Venom Carnage thing. But you're kidding yourself if you're here for anything else besides the amazing art. I'll say some of the human stuff, particularly the faces, is a bit much. Like this panel of Old Dude right there, that almost looks like something out of Mad Magazine. But maybe that's just part of his style of how he's able to draw these, fantastic looking monstrous images, Venom, Carnage, Toxin. Maybe that's just part of his style of really over-exaggerated craziness, and it works really well for the monsters and stuff, not so well for the people. And you know what? The people aren't the thing I'm interested in the book, so it's fine if they're less than perfect. But like, God, some of this art is just killing it for me. I fucking love it. It's so cool. It looks so good. Oh, I can just drool over all this stuff, and with its Venom and Carnage, it's kind of appropriate. So yeah, Venom vs. Carnage. I love that it's Venom Carnage on the cover, but Venom vs. Carnage on the spine, because there's clearly no verse on the cover. Whatever works, y'all. Whatever works. Yeah. So anyway, this just. The art in here is fantastic. Black Cat, sometimes she works a bit better. Sometimes she's drawn fine, sometimes not. She's the most, consistently human character that we're seeing as human the most. That has anything to do with the story. And she's mostly fine. There's a couple awkward panels of her here and there. I've never liked Black Cat's costume. It just gets kind of ridiculous to me. There's no way she doesn't slip a tit in that fucking costume. I'm sorry. There's no fucking way. But whatever. That's just the kind of show where I'm like, this is just fucking stupid. But as far as the artist can't do anything about the way her costume was designed. But as far as the way she's rendered, most of the time it's all right. This top panel up here. A little suspect, something about that, but I think that might just be in the facial expression, given that it's supposed to be kind of like a sly or wiry expression, or wily would be a better word. But again, she's mostly fine, and she's the one we're seeing as human most often. Some of the police officers' family members show up too, and they look fine to just okay. Nothing I say that I think the people are the weakest part of it. The drawings on people's faces and stuff are, and I'll probably stand by that, but it's not nearly as enough to make me lose interest in the way the art is conveying stuff. Just God, when Venom and Carnage team up, Venom eventually decides that Toxin's too much of a threat because he might join Spider-Man. And so he and Carnage team up to try to take out Toxin because Venom was wrong about him. But God, some of this... look at that. Oh, it's so good. The symbiotes are the fucking coolest villains in Spider-Man. Convince me otherwise. I dare you. You can't because it's impossible because they rock. Oh, I love it. So yeah, you just get some great stuff. Oh God, this number 4 cover. Oh, that is so perfect. Venom, Carnage, and Toxin caught between the two of them. Oh, I love this shit. Oh, God, the art in here is beautiful. I can just fawn over this shit. The detail in it, the lighting, the way the light falls off of them. Look at the translucency put into the symbiote eye there, so you can see the officer underneath. Oh, man. Oh. God, I love this. This is... I like really, really abstract comic book art. I like really, really realistic comic book art. And I like really, really simplistic, minimalistic comic book art. This is on that side of realism where I really, really get into it. It's hyper exaggerated, but rendered realistically, which is cool as shit. So really, the highlight on this is Clayton Craig. Crain, sorry. Clayton Crain just murders this book in the best possible way. Absolutely adore this stuff. Just trying to find other good-ass panels to show you guys. Yeah, when fucking Toxin gets buff as shit. That's pretty cool. Too fucking good. Anyway. Yep, that's gonna do it for Trade Talk. It's just fucking good. Again, I'm gonna try to stay out of DC for a little bit, go through some independent and some other Marvel stuff. I picked up Grant Morrison's first volume of X-Men. I'll see how I like that. I mean, it's Grant Morrison. I'm sure I'm gonna love it, but still. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Trade Talk. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.